Assalamu alaikum, my name is Halima Hajat and I am here on the Health Podcast brought to you by UCTV and sponsored by AUDLEY Late Night Pharmacy. And today we're going to talk about this glorious weather that we have. Alhamdulillah, we have this amazing summer that's finally come upon us. And just understanding how to navigate this weather, because it is getting really hot on some days where we are struggling to even cope with it. And it is going to be difficult for us. We have it feels like we have winter all throughout the year, and then literally for a couple of weeks here and there we have this blast of summer heat, right? And we really struggle. And so here are some of the things that people are going to be struggling with. Number one is they're going to be struggling with hay fever, okay? And I've talked about this in one of my previous videos, so go ahead and go back to look at a lot of the natural and holistic ways that you can approach hay fever. And there's actually something else I'm going to share with you today about another solution that I've not mentioned before, okay? So number one is hay fever. Number two is another problem people have is the lethargy. So feeling really tired, feeling exhausted, just feeling that drained feeling. Okay, and so and with that, obviously you're going to be dehydrated. You're going to struggle to have that productivity in your day, in your work, in your at home, and so you easily get frustrated as well, and you can get angry really quickly as well, because you're just really hot, right? And so it's really just talking about how we can navigate this, and especially for children as well. They are going to get really hot and bothered. They're also going to be feeling it just like you are, and so we need to allow a level of compassion for them and understand how best we can really help them. So firstly is the one thing that I wanted to share with you about the hay fever. And I know, because I suffer hay fever quite badly, and it has really flared up in the last maybe 5 years or so. No idea why. But it's just gone from really bad, and this year it hit me really bad, and I've been getting really unwell with it as well. Literally, it feels like I'm getting infections from it as well. So it's been quite bad. And the hay fever tablets are not touching it. You got your loratadine and you got your cetirizine, which are your standard ones, and then you've got your Piriton versions, which is chlorphenamine, right? So they haven't been touching it. They don't usually touch it at all anyway. They're quite mild, but this is a new one that I've gotten. You can get from the chemist. The brand name is called Alivia, but the brand, I don't know actually if there's other brand names available. I've not worked as a pharmacist for a while, so I don't know if there's other brand names, but this particular one was only available on prescription. You couldn't buy it at all, but now you can buy it, okay? And so this is a lot stronger than what you're going to find on the shelves. And so if you what you want to do is remember the actual ingredient in there, because that's what you want to ask for when you go to the chemist, right? And the ingredient in there is called fexofenadine, okay? Fexofenadine, that's Fexonadine. Let me spell that again. Fexofenadine, fexofenadine. Okay, that's what you want to be asking for at the chemist, and it's a really stronger version antihistamine. And actually, this is the only thing that's given me some form of relief, right? Especially because this year I didn't do my honey. I didn't kind of try and train myself up to that process. So this is what's kind of been sorting it out for me. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is obviously you need to keep on top of your water, right? Not just you, your child, all of you. It's so important to keep hydrated. We're already over 60% of our body is just water, right? And so that means that water is essential for our body functions to work. It's essential for everything, for our brains to be, focused, for our hearts to be pumping, for our liver, kidneys to work. Literally everything from our tissues to our bones, everything needs that water, right? It's an essential part of our life. And so we need to make sure we're drinking extra. That means just keep drinking. You have to keep drinking, okay? Number two is add a level of depth to your water. So add on days where you're really dehydrated, you can't or on days where you're just feeling faint and stuff, you need to add extra electrolytes, right? So you can you do get kind of diurolite sachets, Obviously they're only normally given for when you have diarrhea, so that's kind of the idea, is that when you're so dehydrated, when you have diarrhea, these are sachets that have electrolytes in them that's going to help refuel and replenish. And so you can maybe just have like a little dollop of that just to kind of add that level of electrolyte. Okay, alternatively you can also have coconut water. So coconut water has a lot of extra electrolytes in there, and it maintains your rehydration. So you know, like when you drink water and you drink loads of it, and then you feel really quickly that you want to go to the toilet sometimes, right? So with coconut water, because of the electrolytes and the way that it is, you don't need to go to the toilet straight away like as you would with normal water. You kind of retain that in your body a lot better. So it's really good for rehydration. And I guess this is also understandably why you would find coconut water being like people drinking it, especially in areas where it's kind of like a tropical area, or where it's really, really hot, right? Because for those kind of surroundings, naturally coconut water is really good rehydration. So subhanallah, there is wisdom in everything we have in nature, right? And so using that, so coconut water is a way for rehydration. And for children, I think it's really important that we need to encourage that rehydration in a number of ways, right? And so sometimes it's hard for them to drink, and so we need to make it fun for them, right? So you get those little ice lolly type of molds that you can just fill. So just make them like ice lolly type versions of things and put them in the freezer so they can have that water. They've got the electrolytes in there. Put a bit of coconut water in. Use you get the constant, like the Vimto and the orange that's like dilute. Generally, I don't agree with any of those things, purely because of the amount of the sugar alternative stuff that they put in there, and a lot of the processed things. But obviously in this weather, it is kind of like, have the electrolytes, have the sugar, you need the energy, and so take it, use it, right? Because it's going to help, right? So give them the dilute and stuff as well. Just make sure they are drinking sorry, apologies. So you just need to, really improvise in getting them to drink as much as possible. So don't focus too much about the eating, focus more on the drinking. Worst comes to worst, on those really kind of hot days where you have no energy to move, you also need to give yourself that level of sugar just to give you that energy boost, right? And so this is where you get our traditional, very South Asian, thing of Lucozade, right? And so Lucozade, there's this idea of when someone's ill, go give them Lucozade and go give them some grapes, right? And it's kind of become a thing. And it is, because Lucozade is literally full of glucose, and we need glucose in our body for energy, right? Obviously, you have to be careful with, especially if you have sugar level issues and things like that. But generally, like if you are going to be that lethargic and have no energy, your sugar level is going to be down low. And so giving yourself a bit of Lucozade will just help you kind of top that up so you get that energy, and then continue hydrating, okay? Other than that, obviously, please keep yourself protected. You will probably get sunburnt, so make sure you are using some kind of protection for your skin. If you get sunburnt, the best thing for that is aloe vera gel. You can get it at any chemist. You can even, if you have an aloe vera plant, which is really good, just to get an aloe vera plant and keep at home. They don't take up space, and they don't really need taken care of. Very low maintenance plant, and so you can just slice an aloe vera stem off and get some of that aloe vera gel, fresh gel, and you can utilize that and make that into a bit of a gel to apply to your face, right? Or wherever that sunburns, especially for kids, is brilliant to use, okay? Keep an eye on your, sorry, I'm coughing because of the hay fever and all of that stuff. It's just really, really bunging me up on the inside, but that's part of this process, right, of summer. But yeah, keep an eye on your kids, especially for heat spots as well, because that can obviously come up because of the heat. And so there's not really much you can do about that, but just cooling the body. And so applying a level of moisturizer, making sure that they're actually wearing clothes. Like a lot of times what we do is in these really hot weathers, we'll kind of take their clothes off and be like, yeah, go, and that's good to maybe take in some of that vitamin D. But at the same time, what you're doing is direct exposure to that skin, and that skin is not used to that level of sun, right? Which means it then becomes harming to the skin because the skin's not used to it, right? It doesn't have that protective layer. And so that's where you get the heat rashes, the sunburns, you get the heat spots and things coming through as well. So just make sure that they are wearing clothes, but it just has to be thin, right? Cotton, nice thin clothes that just gives that thin layer. So it's very breathable clothing is what they need to be wearing. Yeah, even at nighttime, obviously with their duvets and things, take the duvet out of the out and just use the cover. So they've got a thin covering, but that way they're not open at nighttime as well, and it's breathable and cool as well. So just be really careful about please look out on your children's skin as well for these kind of things. And that's it really. I just wanted to give a little bit of advice of what we can do in the summer for yourselves, for the children as well. Make sure you're wearing your caps and your hats to protect the sunlight as well. So you're taking it enough, but you're not obviously overdoing it. And if it's really, really hot, avoid going out in those times of the day when it is beaming down. So, when it comes to Zohar time or midday time, just don't go out at that time, right? If you go to India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, to these places where it's really, really sunny, you will find at that time people won't go out because they know it's really hot. So it's the same thing. If it's really hot at that time, don't go out. Go out when it's more cooler, so you can still enjoy the sunshine, but actually it's bearable, right? And so we have to just be really careful about how we pick and choose how we enjoy the summer weather, so we can get the best out of it, and so we can take in as much vitamin D and benefit from the sunshine as much as possible, but also protecting ourselves with it as well. Okay, so and that's it for this episode. I hope you benefited from this little piece of short advice of little tips that you can do over these kind of really hot days. Take care, inshallah. Again, my name is Halima Hajat, and I am here on the Health Podcast, brought to you by UCTV, and it's sponsored by AUDLEY Late Night Pharmacy. Assalamu alaikum, and take care.